Hey guys, welcome back to another maths tutorial. This is a part 2 video of expanding double brackets. So if you haven't watched part 1, I would recommend you watch part 1 before you watch part 2. Let's get started. So the first question we have expand and simplify. Again, what we'll be doing is taking each term in our first bracket to multiply all the terms in our second bracket. So we're starting with 3x. So we'll use the 3x to multiply each term in our second bracket. So that's 3x times x, that's 3x squared, and then that's 3x times positive 2, that's a positive 6x. Now I'm going to be using the second term in my first bracket to multiply each term in my second bracket. So that's positive 1 times x, that's positive x, and that's a positive 1 times a positive 2, that's positive 2. I look to see if there are any like terms for me to simplify. In this case, we can agree that 6x and positive x, they're like terms, so I can simplify those. We can agree that 3x squared remains, so I write it back. Positive 6x plus x, that's equal to positive 7x. And then the plus 2 remains, I write it back. So my final answer is 3x squared plus 7x plus 2. Now let's look at a second example, expand and simplify. Now I'm going to take the first term in my first bracket to multiply each term in my second bracket. So that's 5x times 4x, that's 20x squared, and then that's 5x times a negative 5, that's negative 25x. Now I'm going to be using the second term in my first bracket to multiply each term in my second bracket. So that's a positive 7 times 4x, that's a positive 28x. And then a positive 7 times a negative 5, again a positive times a negative, that's equal to a negative, so that's negative 35. I look to see if there are any like terms that I can simplify. Again, we can agree that negative 25x plus 28x are like terms, so those can be simplified. Also, the 20x squared remains, so I'm going to write about that. Negative 25x plus 28x, that's equal to a positive 3x, and then that negative 35 remains, I write it back. So my final answer is 20x squared plus 3x minus 35 in its simplest form. Now let's look at our third example. Pause the video and have a go, and when you finish, check your answer. Okay, so let's begin. So we're taking the first term in our first bracket to multiply each term in our second bracket. So we're using 4x to multiply 2x. So 4x times 2x, that's 8x squared. Then 4x times a positive 5, that's positive 20x. And now I'm using the negative 3 to multiply each term in my second bracket. So that's negative 3 times 2x, that's a negative 6x. And then a negative 3 times a positive 5, that's a negative 15. Again, we check to see if there are like terms. We can agree that 20x minus 6 are like terms there, so those can be simplified. The 8x squared remains, I write it back. 20x take away 6x, that's equal to 14x, so I write positive 14x there. And then the negative 15 remains, I write it back. So my final answer is 8x squared plus 14x minus 15. Let's have a look at our final example, expand and simplify. Again, I'm going to be using the first term in my first bracket to multiply each term in my second bracket. So that's 6x times 6x, that's 36x squared. And then that's 6x times a negative 1, that's negative 6x. Now I'm using a negative 6 times a positive 6x, that gives me a negative 36x. And then I'm using a negative 6 times a negative 1, that's a positive 6. Again, I check to see if there are any like terms for me to simplify. We can agree that the like terms are negative 6x and negative 36x. So those can be simplified. The 36x squared remains, so I can write it back. Negative 6x take away 36x, that gives a negative 42x. And the positive 6 remains, I write it back. So my final answer is 36x squared minus 42x plus 6. And that's it guys for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please remember to like this video, share, and again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And if you have, hit that notification bell to be notified when I post new videos. Thanks for watching guys.